Hi, good morning. Happy Sunday morning, everybody. It's the Sunday following Christmas and the Sunday before New Year's. I welcome you all into the Quarterdeck Arcade this morning. It was a foggy morning here in Wisconsin. Couldn't see, more than a quarter of a mile in front of your face, but a lot of that fog's lifted now. Still a little bit out there, but kind of a dreary looking day out there. But yeah, it's been a wild weather week. About 9 days ago, you all saw me post pictures of the 9 inches of snow that we had on the ground, and here's a picture of that. This was actually mid-storm, so this isn't the totality of the 9 inches, but that's how we looked 9 days ago. And if you flash forward to today, I just took this picture a few moments ago. There's what it looks like now. So we got rid of a lot of snow in 1 week. So I'm not complaining. I don't like snow that hangs around. But for the last few winters here in Wisconsin, it seems like we've gotten into this pattern where we'll get hammered with snow and then it'll all be gone within a week or two because of the fluctuating temperatures. So that's always fun. Anyway. But I'm really happy to see everybody here this morning. I got a fun show today. Really no modding or tinkering or building going on today. But I did want to, it is the end of 2024. So it's usually at this time, arcade content creators like to give tours of their game rooms. And I want to bring you up to speed of where we're at here in the Quarterdeck Arcade. But first, I kind of want to reminisce a little bit and go through a bit of history of how this arcade came into being. So hopefully that's fun for you guys. Got lots of pictures lined up, and hopefully I won't spend too much time on that, but we'll see how. I don't have a time limit. I don't have anywhere to be today, so we're just gonna have fun. So let's take a look at the chat, see who's here. Ted Adam Green is here. Welcome, Ted. Good to see you as always. Stock Jock is here. Good morning, Stock Jock. Good to see you. Gramps Arcade is here. Welcome. Hockey Town Arcade. Yes, that's right. I always got next. It says so on my Arcades Anonymous jacket sleeve. So I got next. Welcome, Hockey Town. Good to see you. Well, Stock Jock, if you're getting snow down there, I'm worried because I'm thinking of moving down in that neck of the woods once I retire. So I'm doing it to get away from this snow. I don't want to be heading towards it. So anyway, welcome everybody. I really appreciate it. And to those of you that are kind of lurking, welcome to you as well. I appreciate each and every view. Just shopkeeping, if you like this content, please hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do so. I'm in it for the fun and enjoyment of just coming to you guys every week in and week out, and doing neat stuff. So whether that be tinkering or building or maybe even just adding a little bit of artwork to the room. You know, I really appreciate everybody. So what are we doing today? Well, the first thing I want to do is I want to start taking a look back. Let me pull up that content. So a little bit of background. I've been in the this arcade has existed in one form or another since June of 2021, so about 3.5 years, and it's been a journey full of ups and downs, some excitement, some deals here and there, and it's been fun. It's a fun hobby. I would say my number one goal in creating a space for myself that I can enjoy is nostalgia. I want something I can walk into and it just gives me a great nostalgic feel. So, continuing with the background though, in 2021, I jumped into Arcade 1-Ups in 2021 and mid 2021. And I realized that by that time, many of you out there in the community had been purchasing 1-Ups since they came out, which I believe was 2018, maybe even 2017. But I saw them in Walmart, and I wasn't impressed. I only became impressed when I started seeing bigger versions on risers in 2021 myself. So my first purchase, and I'm going to go ahead and start sharing out these photos. Before I do that, let me answer Stock Jock's question. Stock Jock wants to know, what do I put on my Build-A-Cades, Batacera? Well, I don't. What the OS that's on my Build-A-Cades is what comes with the Build-A-Cade. So if you watched either one of my live streams in building it, I went through the process of downloading or sticking Glenn's provided SD card in, and then I went out, connected it to wireless, got it connected to wireless, and then it goes out and it downloads the RetroPie software and emulation station that it needs in order to run emulation on the Build-A-Cades. So where I went from there is I basically connected to it via my Windows Explorer, and that's how I added ROMs to it. And there's a certain image or certain version of MAME ROMs that work well, and I believe that's 0.78 with this particular version of RetroPie and Emulation Station and the MAME emulator that's pre-installed on it. Now I went through trial and error, went and added my own. I went and installed additional emulators, like a different version of MAME, and for the fast firing or fast versions of like Miss Pac-Man, Pac-Man, Galaga, and Galaxian. And then I also added the Daphne emulator so that I could run the Laserdisc games like Dragon's Lair or Space Ace. So it's the stock software that comes with it as a base. That's my starting point, and then I go from there. The additional emulators that you install, you can basically pick off a menu within I don't know if it's Emulation Station or RetroPie, either one. You basically, it knows it exists, so you just click install it and it'll install it. It's not like any command line stuff you got to go through to get the stuff installed. I didn't document any of that. Most of my work with my prototype Build-A-Cade I did in my home office upstairs and through trial and error. And I got it to a point where I was comfortable making an image and using it in all my Build-A-Cades going forward. So I hope I answered your question. Let's see. Danny, welcome. You are correct, Hockey Town. It is Raspberry Pi is what I 3B Plus is what I use in my Build-A-Cades, and I'm just running Glenn's provided software. I can certainly. I really don't want to get into doing stuff outside. Danny, you know how busy I am, so I don't want to. I mean, I'd be glad to help you do it, but it's not really that hard if you follow the videos on YouTube for it. PD7, welcome. Appreciate you being here. Zero, welcome. No. And here's the reason, because nobody's done artwork for it yet. I've searched all the sites that are producing GRS Build-A-Cade artwork. Nobody's done Gorf artwork yet. So Arcade Graphics or Escape Pod or Joe Zabo, you three put your heads together, figure out which one wants to do the Gorf artwork, and I'll buy it day one. Because one of these would definitely be a Gorf if I had the artwork. Yeah, if I remember correctly, Stock Jock, all I did was I went to the settings menu, and I'm just doing this off the top of my head. I went to the settings, and then I went to RetroPie setup, I think is the menu option, and then that exits Emulation Station and goes to the RetroPie setup screen, and then I don't know what the additional software option is, but you go to that menu, and then you got a list of additional pieces of software you can install on the RetroPie, and then one of them is Daphne. So that's all I did. And then, of course, you've got to have all of the files for the Laserdisc games that you want to add, the ROMs and in this case, the Laserdisc, you have to have the video files. So let's see. Just storming through the chat. Okay, we're going to get started now. I'm going to share out my screen. Like I said, it began for me in June of 2021. This was my first ever Arcade 1-Up purchase. I actually bought this in store at Best Buy. Best Buy Menominee Falls for PD7's just to let PD7 know, this is where I got it. It's the Pac-Man Legacy. And of course, you've got the riser, and you've got the fake coin, printed coin door on it. And but it did have a lit riser or lit marquee. And there it was built. And when I first started out, I did not have a space allocated for my arcade. So it sat in the living room for a while. Also had a stool to go with it. My second Arcade 1-Up purchase was the Atari Legacy, the Tempest. And again, in the living room. And then I moved everything. I figured, well, I'll just use a spare bedroom. This is our spare bedroom. Got that Pac-Man carpet on the bottom there. And I got a little bit of artwork from Hobby Lobby to add to the room. So this is where the Quarterdeck Arcade actually started. It started in this yellow room here in the guest bedroom. Another shot of that guest bedroom with additional artwork. I've got the Star Wars movie poster art here. And then I've got some additional Hobby Lobby artwork. But pretty much these are the only two Arcade 1 or home arcade things that I had at that time. Again, this is June of 2021. Actually, this would be July of 2021 when I moved everything into this room. Then the third thing I bought was the Miss Pac-Man Legacy, the actual blue colored one, with the riser. I love I'm gonna get on my pedestal and soapbox and tell Arcade 1-Up, look guys, you got to come out with a Miss Pac-Man Deluxe in this scheme, in the blue scheme. So I eventually sold these, but the Miss Pac-Man joined in July. So within a couple of months, I had 3 Arcade 1-Ups. Well, then I added some blue light, and then the Defender Partycade. So you see the Defender Partycade on a pedestal over there in the back. I did get some stuff from Walmart. Those these little marquee things I bought from Walmart. Then I started thinking, well, I don't know if that space is going to work for me. So I started looking at ways I could change things up. And this is the space where the arcade currently sits now, but this was my workout room. So I had a bike, I had a treadmill, I streamed some of the things that I did, the running and the biking in Zwift, which is a bike and running simulator. And did some streaming with that. That's why you see the lights here. But that was my workout area. This with the workout floor on the bottom there. The next purchase, the Star Wars pinball. So that was in February of 22, actually. So there was quite a gap between the Defender Partycade I added in November of 21, and then Star Wars pinball in February of 2022. So my purchases were few and far between during that time. But then I went and added the Star Wars pinball, and pretty happy with it. I've since modded it, and I've put a 32-inch monitor in there, so it's a little different than what you see here, but sorry, Stock Jock. Yeah, I got in early. I mean, I think I got it right when it came out. So, and I think I paid full price for it too. So, which, you know, now is really means nothing because those things go for like $600 now in the secondary market. This picture was taken right around St. Patrick's Day, which is why you see the green in the room. So this is just kind of a state of how the arcade looked. So I had the pinball over here, then I had the 3 Arcade 1-Ups over here. Also bought this Pac-Man board game for decoration. You'll notice the Defender Partycade's not here. I moved it into my office. Believe it or not, guys, I once owned a Marvel pinball. That was my next purchase. So that was in April of 2022. This is my cat, Hetfield. She's my baby. She is a sweetheart and loved to climb up on my Arcade 1-Ups when I had them upstairs. But there's a story behind this Marvel pinball. I didn't even unbox it. I bought, here's what happened. I think remember, I think they, 1-Up made a pricing error, or some retailer made a pricing error on the Marvel pinball, and they were selling them. They were selling for like $150, and I scarfed it up and sat on it. Now I could have built it, but I sat on it and maybe use it as trade bait, or just outright sell it and use that money for something else. And that's what I wound up doing. I wound up selling this Marvel pinball, new in box, unsealed or sealed, still sealed. So Hetfield lost her perch eventually. Next was my first Simpsons. I've had a couple. This is the first one. That was May of 2022. And you can see this view here of the room. At this point, I moved the Star Wars pinball into my office as well, which is right across the hall from this right here, this door. And you can see Star Wars here too as well. Star Wars came in June of 2022. So The Simpsons here against the wall, Star Wars here. And then you see this little Miss Pac-Man Countercade. This was my first ever mod. This has a Raspberry Pi in it running whose image? Scooney, I think, is the image in there. And so yeah, I added buttons to the control panel and to the sides of the unit for like pinball games and stuff. So I still have it. It's my first ever mod. I keep it for that reason, because it reminds me of how easy it is to mod these things with Raspberry Pis, and it's kind of a touch base or a reference point whenever I need to look into it to see how I did something. So pretty happy with that. Next purchase, Tron. Got this on I believe from Dell on a deal. I don't know that 100% for sure, but that was my next purchase in July of 2022. Hockey Town, you are correct, sir. My gal is a huge fan. In fact, if he were available, she would be all over James Hetfield and just throw me like dust in the wind, because she adores James Hetfield. Her and I went to Minneapolis earlier this year, and we took in a Metallica concert, and it was awesome. So, yep, she's a huge Metallica fan. Oh, okay. Yep, that's true. Yep, it was an insane price. That's why I jumped on it. I said I'm not passing 150 up, because now, well, that thing ain't going for less than $499. So, but yeah, Tron was added in July of 2022, and there you see it built. This is pre-mod now. I did not do the S panel mod. I did not do the kick plate graphic, and I didn't do the Tulsa Arcade's front riser panel, lit riser panel yet. So all of those mods were to come. I'm not going to really go over all the mods that I've done over the course. I'm just going to touch base on how the evolution of this arcade. You can kind of see in the background here the Star Wars pinball in my office right here. So then my foray into at games began. September of 2022. I bought the Legends Ultimate HD, and I've been extremely happy with it ever since. Got CoinOps X on it, and I've since added. I one time had a bit pixel, and then I changed it from the bit pixel to the bit LCD, and I love it. So we'll see that a little bit later when I do the live walkthrough. And again, here's a look at my exercise space. This was, it was November of 2022 when I actually started seriously considering the move. By that time, I had already been in the Anytime Fitness gym for 3 months, and I wasn't really working out at home anymore. I wasn't running, I wasn't biking, and I thought, well, why don't I just get rid of all this stuff, open up this entire space for an arcade. So that's what I did. And I started buying additional arcade one-ups as well. So same month, I bought Pong Head-to-Head and Ridge Racer. And it was during this time that I kind of sat on my purchases because I wanted to get that room ready. So I did not build these for a few weeks while I got the room ready. So you'll see, here's the space. I emptied it out of the exercise equipment. And so a blank canvas, basically, except I left the exercise mirror in there. I don't know why. Should probably just take it down. Then I bought these partitions. I wanted to wall off this space from the rest of the basement. So I bought these partitions off of Amazon, and they come in different packs. You can buy them in packs of five partitions, or 3 partitions, or even 1. I think you can buy singularly, but very cheap. I think for 3, I paid like, I don't know how much these things were. They weren't that expensive though, but I wasn't in a position where I could build permanent walls for my arcade. So I thought, well, I'll just do the next best thing and I'll put partitions up. So that's what I did. And I added my carpet in there, and to flatten it out, I put stool boxes on each corner because it was curling up because it was so new. But in this picture, you can see the Pong, you can see the Ridge Racer, and I also added a Pac-Man head-to-head, the Black Series Pac-Man head-to-head. So 2 head-to-heads I had at one time, just wasn't building them yet. There's another look at that empty space. I had the bookshelves. Quarterdeck will remember this because he's the one that lobbied me heavily to get these out of here to have more room to add cabs. But these bookshelves I still use for arcade parts and stuff. They're outside the arcade, right on the other side of this wall. So, but that's how I started. And my growing collection of arcade 1-ups to build, I moved outside of the arcade, so I had room to move the existing arcade upstairs in. So I moved the ones I hadn't built yet outside the arcade. And as you can see, I had like 1, 2, 3, 4. And actually, this Simpsons box is empty because that's my first Simpsons box. I just put it there. But I added a couple more here. I can't remember which ones, but this whole section was kind of cluttered with arcade 1-up boxes at one time. Yeah, they did. I jumped on those. They were expensive. They were like $100 a piece on Amazon because they were probably in such short supply. But I jumped on them, and the people that eventually bought my Pong head-to-head were more than pleased that I had the stools to go with it. So they even paid me, if I remember correctly, they paid me a little extra on the side. So let's see. There are the head-to-heads built. I figured they were going to go in the middle of the floor, so those I built first. And so I had the Pong head-to-head, and then I had the Pac-Man head-to-head. And then it was moving day. Moving day was December 10th, 2022. I looked it up. So brought down all of my arcade 1-ups from the spare bedroom. I released the spare bedroom to just that being a spare bedroom. So when family and friends came over, they had a place to stay. But yep, moving day. And you can see I have a Marvel countercade here as well. Little lit up area. And as you know, I like to put LED strips on the back of every one of my arcade 1-ups and my at game stuff. So it just adds a pretty little ambiance to the arcade at night. Even during the day, it looks pretty awesome. Dig Dug. Actually bought Dig Dug and NFL Blitz in December of 2022. And if you've been with me from day one, you know I've told this story about NFL Blitz, but I drove an hour to an hour and a half in a blistering snowstorm to Appleton, Wisconsin, to pick up NFL Blitz for right around $200 at a Sam's Club up there. So that's when I became a member of Sam's Club and then bought the NFL Blitz, which I no longer have. But yeah, Dig Dug and NFL Blitz joined the arcade in December 2022. I still love NFL Blitz, and if I can get my hands on one, I will. This is I moved my lighting that I had in that spare bedroom down here, and this is just a kind of a blue light view of the arcade. And again, this is in December of 2022. Okay, moving right along to 2023. Ah, yes, my At Games Legends Ultimate Mini. I still have this. It's still right where it sits in this picture. But in January 23, that was when Sam's Club was running all those deals on At Games products. So this is where I really got in or jumped into the At Games. I also bought an At Games Legends pinball. So the Ultimate Mini and the Legends pinball were both bought in January 23. But yeah, this mini, I have a problem with the joystick now. The going up on the joystick is not working as it should be. So either I'm going to replace this entire panel with another mini control panel, or I'm going to try and replace the joystick myself. So one of the two. I haven't decided which, but I use this Legends Ultimate Mini to do some gaming when I'm on breaks from work. You can see my work table here. This is my home office. So when I work from home, this is where I'm working from home. And then you know, when I'm taking a break, I'm up here playing a game or two. Then same month, I decided to expand the floor. So the footprint of the arcade floor. So I bought some additional tiles, and I went out one tile around one side and the front side. So that gave me additional floor space. So wound up adding that. And then I temporarily removed the partitions so I could just freely work with the power and stuff behind here. So, but yeah, I basically went that way with more tiles and this way with more tiles. So I had more space. Then the Legends Pinball I mentioned, I still have this. It now has a control panel here. It also has the Metallica artwork, which I got from Buy Stuff Store or Buy Stuff Arcades. And it was a kind of a pain in the ass to do, I'll admit, but because I hadn't really done any reskinning at that point. This is my first major reskinning, and it turned out really well. Of course, I got this for my sweetheart, who is a big Metallica fan. So this is our pinball. I'll probably never get rid of it for that reason. It's got some sentimental value now. And you know, I've got the control panel now, and I've added CoinOps X to it, so I can play. You know, if I felt like playing Centipede on it, I could. Do I ever do it? No, but it's an option there available to me if I want. All right. And then there's a wide shot of the arcade. At that time, this would be in January of 23, I think. Yep. And so kind of a little bit of doing the old arcade shuffle. I had my Star Wars pinball on one side of the entrance, and then I had the Metallica pinball on the other side. And then all my 80s games on the right side, and then all the other games on the left. Still had those bookcases in the back, though. Here's another view, and you see those pinballs at the entrance to the arcade here. So on this was my Star Wars corner. This was the original Star Wars corner. But hanging artwork on these partitions is just horrible. It can't bear the weight of most artwork. So I wound up moving Star Wars corner to the opposite concrete corner. So. And then kind of a daylight shot. Nothing really special there. I did a little bit of rearranging between that previous picture and this one. This is in May of 23. What you kind of see here, and I didn't touch base on, was in March of 23, I bought the Golden Tee 3D XL, and that's off screen here. And then in in April of 23, I sold my original Pac-Man Legacy and Miss Pac-Man Legacies. That's why there's a table here in this space right now. Let's see, what do we have here? May of 23, I bought the Joust. This is Joust number 1. Now, I've had 2 Jousts. I'm on my second one now. This was my first one. I had the light up riser kit from Tulsa Arcades, and I had a 17-inch monitor replacement to replace the TN monitor in it right off the bat. So before I even built it, I had this stuff ready to go. Also here is that $150 Killer Instinct. So I was one of the lucky ones that picked up Killer Instinct for $150. And here you see him built right here in the center. And then you see Golden Tee here, Golden Tee 3D XL off to the side here. Where the Pac-Mans were, I had put this table and I put the countercades up on it. Little bit of arcade shuffling too. Bookcases are still back here. And then, wow, this pickup, my goodness. July of 2023, I was browsing Marketplace and came across a $50 40th anniversary Pac-Man. And I'm like, you know, this is the wood grained 40th anniversary Pac-Man. And I'm like, I can't, I immediately, I mean, it was just a reflex action. As soon as I saw that, I hit contact seller and I said, I'll pick it up later today. Not even thinking how hard it was going to be to get this thing into my Jeep. And it was hard. I did it, but it took me 20 minutes to figure it out. Basically put the top part in the passenger seat of my Jeep, put the riser in the back, riser and the seat in the back. But that was a bear. And it was then I knew that I could not pick up any pre-built arcade one-ups going forward because it's just too stressful and too hard to get in my Jeep. But yeah, this didn't last long, and we'll get to that in a few moments. Another wide shot with the 40th in here. So the arcade grows. Then my first Synergy pickup, September of 2023. I picked up T2. I don't remember how much I paid for this, but I think it was like $200 to $250 for this T2. And so it was a pallet return to Synergy, and Synergy bought the pallet, but it was new in box, really. So I bought this with the sole intention of converting it to a Space Invaders cabinet. This is the cabinet that I eventually turned into a retro shooter Space Invaders. Then I got the Pac-Man XL. That was also September of 2023. Another wide shot with the Pac-Man XL and the T2 built now with the retro shooter kit on top here. What I was waiting for is the Buy Stuff Arcades 19-inch monitor conversion kit and the control panel replacement and the artwork. So all of that stuff I was still waiting for to do that work. Did my first 1/6 scale arcade purchase. This was off of Marketplace for $200. I got both of these. So $100 a piece. That was a bargain in my opinion. Guy met me in a parking lot in Wauwatosa, across from State Fair. And I added these to be my first incursion into the 1/6 scale market. So these are New Wave toys, of course, Dragon's Lair and Space Ace. That was in October of 2023. All you folks, I see that a lot of you got only high fives. Yeah. There was a time where I was scanning for deals quite a bit during the day. So I must have just hit it right at the right time. I saw it and I went for it. It was like that $50 marketplace purchase of the 40th Pac-Man. I just hit the buy now and entered my credit card information as quickly as possible because I knew that was a great deal and I knew I had to take advantage of it, and I did. So sorry about you guys that missed out on that. I did wind up selling the Killer Instinct though, and I did sell it for what I paid for it too. The most of you remember November of 2023, I found a local marketplace seller for Burger Time. I was so excited. That was another one of those impulse purchases, sight unseen. Drove out there, saw the damage to the box, and I'm like, oh crap. Actually, I didn't see the damage until I got it home. So I was kind of hoping that it didn't hit the side panel, which of course most of you folks know I did. And I did my best to try and do the cosmetic work on that. Probably was going to look at buying a new vinyl whole side to that, but never got around to it. So wound up selling that later too. Here's the damage. So this was the damage to the side panel from a forklift or something going through that box. Up next in December of 23, Yoga Flame. And let's see, another wide shot with Yoga Flame in there on this side. Then I added Class of 81, same month. This is number one. I've had this twice now. I'm on my second Class of 81 Deluxe. So added this in December of 23 as well. And December was also the month that I started. You can see the buy stuff arcades. I've started unboxing the retro shooter kit here. And then December is when I started doing my Space Invaders mod. So here you see I've done the kick plate artwork already. I've done the Buy Stuff Arcades 19-inch monitor with the 4 sensors pre-built in. That was put in. And basically reskinned it. This is the Buy Stuff Arcades control panel, 19-inch monitor, artwork on either side. And I wound up waiting for the marquee, and they sent me the wrong marquee artwork. So they had to, Buy Stuff had to send me a new marquee and a new front riser panel art because the artwork that they sent me did not match the T2 riser panel. So those two things I had to wait. These two things I had to wait for Buy Stuff Arcades to send to me. And this is a follow-up picture. So it's got the retro shooter guns, got the new Buy Stuff Arcades ultimate control panel here, the 19-inch monitor. This is still my favorite. I love this thing. The artwork just pops. And with the retro shooter kit, it's an all-in-one type arcade. I love it. I'll never get rid of it. The only time I'll get rid of it is when I'm 6 feet under. So even then, I might try to take it with me. Kind of an arcade shuffle moment here. You can see Space Invaders. I moved off to the side here. Burger Time, Class of 81, Pac-Man, my 80s wall here. Did a little shuffling here. I didn't like this arrangement with the XL Golden Tee against the non-XL Simpsons, but I wound up fixing that by moving Golden Tee against this back wall here. Another wide shot. At this point, I had moved Golden Tee against that wall. Let's see, X-Men. X-Men I added in January of this year, January 2024. Let me see here. I'm gonna quick scroll back through the chat and make sure nobody's asking me any questions. Welcome to everybody joining in. Gamer Fridge, welcome, welcome. Gotham City Arcade, welcome. Good to see you again. Thumper Squid, always good to see you. Yeah, I agree. I agree, Zero. The Space Invaders was my peak. If I looked at the stats on that video, I bet that's still the highest video I have on my channel is that Space Invaders. Cool. That sounds cool. I never ever got a IR arcade. I never, even when they went out of business and they were fire selling them, I didn't jump on it. Probably should have, because I'm a tweaker and I love tinkering, and probably would have had fun with Glenn's control panel and his Viper board and the mystery encoder stuff that went on too, I think. So, but nope, never jumped on the iArcade bandwagon. All right. So yeah, X-Men joined in January of 24. I love this cabinet. I would love to get it again, but unfortunately it recently sold out. So Marketplace has a couple of options, but I can't pick up a pre-built arcade. I'd have to take it apart, and I don't want to mess around with that. Wide shot, probably, yeah, this would be February 24, February of this year. So again, we're starting to creep up on the era in which I had problems. So I'll talk about that in a minute. But this is kind of peak arcade one up, or arcade one up, peak Quarterdeck. Right here. This is when I was at my fullest. Oh, and then I had, this is my infamous Synergy purchase for $250. This is a Mortal Kombat 2 Deluxe. Brand new, in the box, unscathed, nothing wrong with it. $250. I was so proud of this purchase. Man, I was so happy. They had like 10 Mortal Kombat 2 Deluxes. Half of them were obvious opens and repacks. But this is one of the ones that hadn't been opened yet. I could tell, and by both sides of the box still being sealed, and so they took $250 for it, and I ran with it because I knew that was an awesome deal for this cab. But then I moved it. I had a fighter row here, a little fighter section, Mortal Kombat 2 with the Yoga Flame next to NFL Blitz. The back there in the corner. Even fuller now with that Mortal Kombat 2 in the back corner there. A little bit of re-engineering. I moved the Metallica pinball out to the middle because I wanted to experiment with my laptop here and try to do some Pinball FX. This laptop can't run it, so I still have the guts in the Metallica pinball to run an external PC. I just don't have an external PC to run Pinball FX or FX3. So once I get that PC, all I got to do is connect it up and do a little bit of software, and I should be rocking and rolling. Answer your question, Ted. Yes, I am. Very much so. And will probably be a day one supporter of the Kickstarter. Yeah, I will get it as soon as the Kickstarter is announced, and obviously do some content on it down the road whenever it gets here. Probably won't be till later next year, I would assume. Yeah, yeah. This was my space. I loved having stuff in the middle there. I love that feel that I get walking into this room. Only thing missing is I need to get some good Bluetooth speakers to throw up in here so I can play some 80s music while I'm walking around in here and enjoying the sound and ambience of the arcade. Totally agree. So anyways, this was the state of the arcade in March of 24. Now, this Simpsons right here is my second Simpsons. I sold the first one. And I didn't really talk about that guy. I don't really remember when the first one went. It went sometime probably around the time I sold my Legacy Pac-Mans, I think. But this is my second Simpsons actually right here that you see. And then I did the 2-player mod with the splicing of the buttons, which Danny will remind me I still haven't done the video on that. I don't know if I'll ever do it now. I may do it. If I get another Simpsons, I might do it again just to, because there's things that if you watch some of the video that I shot for that content, I don't like how I shot the angle that I shot some of the splicing, and I'd like to do it better. So I've got some notes if I were to do this again, how I would go about fixing this, or fixing the videos so that it would be easier. Or I might do it live. Then I won't have to cut together any video. Okay, here we go. Now you'll notice the entire middle is clear here. This is in April of 24, April of this year. So this is, I went through 3 major rounds of selling. 4 if you count the previous selling of the Pac-Man Legacies and the Simpsons. But those I sold just to try move up to something else. I didn't sell those because I needed the cash at that point. But this would be the first round of sales in April of 24. And the reason why I had to sell the arcades that used to be out here are because my dog needed $2,000 worth of surgery. And me not being a person that likes to go into debt, I said, well, I got to pay for this somehow. So the first thing came to mind is, well, I can sell some arcade 1-ups. So that's what I did. And in that sale were my Pong head-to-head. You'll notice that's no longer here. The Golden TXL, which was right here where the Space Invaders is now. I sold that. The Mortal Kombat 2 and the Yoga Flame. So those were over here. They're no longer there. So I sold 4 arcade 1-ups in April of 24, April of this year, to pay for my dog's surgery. Gamer Fridge, I did soft mod The Simpsons. I don't have it anymore. And that'll be here coming up here in a second. I have done the soft mod. I soft modded both the Yoga Flame and the Simpsons. And it was fun. I had a good time doing it. So that was round 1. Round 2 in May of this year. So what was the thing that caused me to sell more arcade 1-ups the second round? Well, my Jeep needed love. It needed repairs. It needed 4 new tires. And it also needed some major exhaust work and major axle work, which cost me well over $2,000 all told. So, yeah. And not wanting to incur that debt, I said more arcade 1-ups more of the arcade has to go. So what went in the second round? Yeah, these are the Dark Days Zero, definitely. The second round Ridge Racer, the modded Buy Stuff Arcades Ridge Racer. The Pac-Man XL went. The Simpsons and NFL Blitz. So both the two-player deck modded Simpsons and NFL Blitz went in that sale to pay for my car repairs, big ticket items. So within the span of a month, I lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 arcade one-ups. All right. Moving right along through the depressing stage of the arcade. Oh, you're very much welcome, Ted. I figured this would be fun just to go through, because it was fun for me to download all these photos from my cloud site and just go through them and figure out, I remember it was fun for me to remind myself of what I went through to have this space and what I went through to rebuild it. All right, so I went through those 2 big sales and thought I was in a good, comfortable space where I could pick up another arcade one-up. And I always wanted the Big Buck Hunter Deluxe, so I bought it. That was in June of this year. Well, it didn't last long. It lasted a month before I had to turn around and sell it. That's right. Big Buck Hunter Deluxe was only in the Quarterdeck Arcade for probably less than a month. As you can see, a 3rd round of devastation occurred. I ain't got much left here, right, guys? I mean, you got the Space Invaders. The Tron is off to the side here. You can't see it. It's off camera. But the Space Invaders T2, the Atari Legacy, the Star Wars Pinball, the Star Wars itself, the Legends Ultimate, the Metallica Pinball. That's pretty much it. And then I had this little table full of knickknacks and New Wave toy stuff. And then the Defender Partycade. I will probably never let the Defender Partycade go. So, and the sole reason is because of Gorf. But yeah, devastation. So round 3 occurred in July of 24. So July of this year. And the reason why I needed the funds that time was because my refrigerator quit. And it would cost more to repair it than it would to just go out and buy a new one. So what did we do? We went out and bought a new one. So yeah, within a span of 3 months, I shelled out close to $8,000 in big ticket items. So it wasn't really that. I mean, it was hard for me to let go of stuff in the arcade, but me being big on staying as much out of debt as I possibly can. I mean, you're always going to have a mortgage, but I try to keep myself above water with debt. And so the smart thing to do was to let go of things in the arcade. I knew I was going to come back at some point. I knew this space was going to come back, and we'll see that coming up here. So depressing time. I was pretty sad, but I was also happy in the knowledge that I wasn't heavy in debt. So kept my head above water and just kept on going. Yeah. Yeah. I think we need to have, I don't know what there's a music AI webpage out there. I think I should ask it to write me a country western ballad about my woes over the summer. That's funny. Yep, it is sad. On that note, I would like to replace this carpet with larger carpet that covers the entire space. So that's on my list of things I want to do. I haven't really seriously looked into it yet, but I want to replace this carpet with a larger space because it used to be, remember, this partition wall here was closer in. And so this covered a lot of the walking space in the arcade. Well, since I expanded the footprint of the arcade, moved and the wall moved out, then the carpet looks kind of tiny. So still looks good, but I would like to eventually cover the entire space. All right. Enough of the depressing stuff. Let's start to talk about rebuild. So, July I had the third round. Oh, by the way, in July, what I sold was the Marvel Countercade. That was modded, by the way, by the Team Encoded stuff. The Dig Dug Quarter Arcade went. The Big Buck Hunter Deluxe. The Burger Time went. The Class of 81 Deluxe, my first one, went. Joust and Dig Dug Legacy. That round of sales really hurt me the most because I did not want to let go of the Burger Time. I did not want to let go of the Joust or the Dig Dug. It really pained me to get rid of those, but it had to happen. But now we're into August and the rebuild begins. So a little bit of arcade shuffle here just to kind of consolidate things. But my first purchase post selling everything was the Pong pub table. And this was like a $2.99 sale. So I figured I want to get Pong back in the arcade, but I don't want the head-to-head anymore. I wanted the pub table. So went for it at $2.99. Believe I got it from Kohl's with the Kohl's cash. Always handy. So the rebuild started with the Pong pub table. Okay. So September of this year is when I started getting back heavily into the GRS Build-A-Cade. Now, you folks will remember my episode 8 of this particular show covered the build of this Build-A-Cade, this particular one, and I screwed it up royally. That's all on me. I took it out on Glenn, and I really hated myself for that. Apologize for it in a subsequent stream. And I just, what happened was I tried to do live something that I probably should have done on my own first, and then worked out the kinks before doing a live build. What happened was I broke the monitor ribbon cable, or not the cable, but the connector on the monitor. And God bless Glenn. I mean, I emailed him about it, and he turned around and sent me another one as a free replacement. So I sat on it for a few months. I figured if I'm going to get back into this, I'm gonna do it patiently and on my own. So that's what I did. You see, I'm on my kitchen table here, and I basically took a moment and put everything back together and got it up and went through Glenn's setup process, and got up and running with Robbie Roto, which is a free game. So this was I consider this my prototype unit because it was my first one. And I eventually reskinned this as a Miss Pac-Man. So, yeah. Build-A-Cades, I love them now. I really love them. I think they're awesome. And you'll see how far I've gotten with them in a little bit. I've been a frequent purchaser of these. I believe I'm up to 7 Build-A-Cades that I have either built or not built yet. And I'm thinking about buying 3 more. So just love them. So I kind of focused on GRS Build-A-Cades latter part of this year, although you will see I also focused on the arcade itself. Okay. So wide view of the arcade. Did some consolidation, moved the pinballs around. I had a table here with my 1/6 scale arcades from New Wave Toys. I added Berserk. You can't really make it out here, but this is Dragon's Lair, Space Ace, and Berserk. I actually bought Berserk online from New Wave Toys. Here's my Build-A-Cade. This particular monitor is displaying a RetroPie box that I have. I bought off of Facebook. Has a ton of games on it, and so, but I also have an HDMI cable running here that I can plug into the New Wave Toys or into my Build-A-Cades and display up on the screen if I want a larger screen. So my work, this whole side of the room, you guys remember, was empty for the longest time. All right, the rebuild continues with the Dig Dug Legacy. And you guys remember what, because I eventually bought I went in with the Buy Stuff Arcades 19-inch monitor replacement on this, and boy, was that a nightmare. You guys remember that video, that stream that I did where I had problems? I think I just did a video on the monitor swap. And yeah, I had problems because the holes weren't lining up, and yeah, and then the monitor orientation was incorrect, but we got it fixed up and it's put together and fine. You can see it here, right here. Then that was the Dig Dug. So I bought in October of this year, just a few months ago, I bought the Dig Dug Legacy. That was my second one. I rebought Galaga Deluxe. Actually, no, I bought Galaga Deluxe. I never had a Galaga Deluxe, but I always wanted it. It was on sale at Target. I believe it was a Spreetail deal through Target that I got the Galaga Deluxe. And then I also rebought Joust. And here you see, I bought Joust locally from a guy selling on Marketplace. It was new in box, and he was selling it for $250. So I scarfed it up immediately. There you see the Galaga Deluxe and the Dig Dug together built. Finally filling out this side of the room. You'll see the Joust built here now. The row is really taking shape again. So is the arcade. Then in November, I added the Pac-Man Deluxe. Again, I focused during my rebuilding, I focused on the games cabinets that gave me the most nostalgia. So here we are with Pac-Man Deluxe. And there she is built. Another wide shot with this row really taking shape now. And then the Class of 81 Deluxe. Now, this is the second one. Bought it on sale. Actually bought it with Kohl's Cash and on sale. So I got this cabinet for around $300 all after everything was said and done. So pretty happy about that. I bought it solely because of the Miss Pac-Man artwork and to get Miss Pac-Man back in on an arcade 1-up. So if they were to come out with a Miss Pac-Man Deluxe in the blue scheme, I'll probably get that and probably sell this. I don't have a lot of nostalgia for the Class of 81, but I do for Miss Pac-Man and Galaga. Okay. Now you see everything built. I also added Golden Tea. I didn't have that written down. Golden Tea was last month as well. So actually Golden Tea was within the last 2 or 3 weeks, but you see that here. Golden Tea Deluxe now sits where the Golden Tea 3D XL used to be. So But you guys helped me move this row or adjust this row a little bit so that I had more space down here and helped me get this oriented to the way it looks the best. And I may wind up sticking another cabinet back here next to the golden tee. We'll see. Right now, I'm kind of at an impasse. I don't really have any desire to buy any more arcade one-ups. If a sale came along on something I don't have, I'll probably jump on it. Or if something popped up on Marketplace, I'll probably jump on it. And of course, the wide shot. One thing I did not touch on is artwork and ambiance. I added throughout this entire time tons of artwork. You've all seen my Star Wars corner here. I love the neon LEDs, signs, but one enhancement I did, and this I got from Chaotic BPR. He has these very same lights. Sent me the link, and I went out and bought black light, and I bought 4 of them, and I put them in. Got one on either side in the middle of the arcade, and one on either side on the opposite ends of the arcade. So it lights up the room pretty well, and at night the whole room just really pops. And I love the arcade ambiance. As I said, probably the finishing touch I need to add is music. I need to get some 80s music piped in here when I spend some time down here. And of course, going back to what I was talking about with the GRS Build-A-Cades, I spent a lot of time with Build-A-Cades. You've all seen my live streams on a couple of builds. The most recent video I posted was on this time pilot. That was a time-lapse video of assembly. I'll probably just do time-lapse videos on the rest of these, unless it's like maybe the driving cab, because I think that's next on my radar, is to do a GRS Build-A-Cade driving cab. But you can see here's my prototype right here, the Miss Pac-Man GRS Build-A-Cade. Then I have a Karate Champ with the dual joysticks. Then I have a Centipede with the trackball. And then I have a time pilot. Now, all of these boot straight into the games that they're marquee games. So, and you can still play other games on them too. You just have to exit out of this game. So, love my Build-A-Cades. All right. That's very true, Danny. I mean, you and I have met in person, and I've met PD7. I've met with the Pinball Expo. I got to meet several other YouTubers, and it was awesome. I really enjoyed it. Wore this shirt and twinned with P-Dubs, so that was fun. I wish I could have spent more time down there. And there's some people I didn't get to meet or talk to. Would have loved to have met to spend a little bit of time talking veteran type stuff with 19K Fox, fellow veteran. Shout out to him. Would have liked to have talked to Michael B and Console Kits, Justin. I would have liked to have talked to them. I talked to them a little bit, but not at length, and just not enough time. I only had 3-hour window to spend down there at the Pinball Expo. But yeah, you're right though, Danny. I mean, we definitely do have the privilege of getting to meet people and people that are like-minded and love this hobby as much as we do, and it's fun. It really is. All right, so how about we switch over to going to my mobile camera, my cell phone camera, which, by the way, folks, I've gotten questions on this. How I use my cell phone as an IP camera. There's a technology called NDI, and in OBS you can use you can install the NDI app on your cell phone, and as long as your cell phone's on the same network as your streaming computer, you can bring it in as an NDI source in OBS, and that's how I do the that's excuse me, I got a frog in my throat. That's how I do the cell phone video. So we're going to pop over to that, and then I'm going to just walk around. Y'all kind of up to speed now on what the arcade looks like now anyway. I'm going to switch mics here. All right, testing 1, 2, 3. Now on my mobile mic. Close that. All right, so here's the multiple camera view of the arcade. The cell phone camera being the lower right corner. I have cameras 1 and 2. Camera 1 would be in the upper left corner of the screen. Camera 2 would be in the lower left corner. Then, of course, you have my desk cam for the headshot, and then I have the cell phone cam running down on the lower right. So I'm going to bring up my cell phone camera, and hopefully I don't make anybody sick when I take this camera off its tripod. Actually, let's do this. Let's find camera 1. There we go. So I'll go to camera 1 for now while I get my camera. All right. I'm going to turn up the house lights. I'm going to turn off my blue light, my black light. All right, let's get this thing off the tripod, eh? And hopefully my battery in my phone lasts. I had it plugged in, so it should be fully charged. All right, we're gonna go mobile here. All right, I'm gonna switch over to my cell phone camera. All right, here we are. All right, so this is the entrance basically of the arcade, this opening here between the partitions. You all saw the partitions. The entrance to my basement, this door right here. And then you just walk into the arcade, and then we'll start from right to left. So there's the Defender Partycade, still have that. I do LED lighting on the backs of all of my Arcade 1-Up stuff, all of my arcade stuff really that will accommodate an LED light. So I'll put a LED strip on the back to backlight it. All right, here next to the Defender Partycade, I have my 1/6 scale table, and I also have a monitor behind it, a TV that I can plug in HDMI to any of these 1/6 scales, and I also have a RetroPie unit, and that's what you see running on there with Moon Patrol. But and I have a controller that I can play those games, and I can also use that same controller for any of the Build-A-Cades as well if I wanted to. But so, and I have some Pac-Man art here. This mug is a mug I won from PD7's channel, the X-Men mug. And got my little Pac-Man hat. And then you've got the Build-A-Cades. So Time Pilot, Centipede, Karate Champ, and the Miss Pac-Man. So I also have the Change Machine charger from New Wave Toys. And then from New Wave Toys, I have their Berserk and their Dragon's Lair, and Space Ace. So then we start working our way. I moved my Metallica Act Games Legends HD pinball here. While I'm on the topic of Act Games pinball, that's my next serious purchase I'm considering. I'm saving up for it. So won't be until probably after tax time when I get around to doing that. But I'm happy with this. I just bought the Natural History Pinball Pack 3 for this pinball, and I'm enjoying the games. You can see the World of Microbes is currently loaded on it. It's not my favorite. Nature's Fury, I think, is my favorite table from that pack. But I've also got the the control panel for the pinball, and it's got Metallica artwork on there. And let me tell you, that was a pain in the butt to get that artwork on there, because you have to basically pull the control panel, pull all the components out, and then apply the artwork. And you can buy a version of this where you can just slip it over the controls and not have to do that. But I wanted it to look professional, so that's the way I went. I went for the hard way. So, but I love this pinball. The artwork just is. Buy Stuff Arcades did an awesome job on this artwork. My gal loves it. I love it. But I'm a big fan of That Games products, and it's only a matter of time when I get the 4K pinball. But anyway, I digress. Here we have my Space Invaders T2. So this was a former T2, as I mentioned earlier. It's got Space Invaders artwork all over the riser and the main unit. It's got that Space Invaders. You can't really see it there because the LED lights are kind of stomping over it, but it's a beautiful cab. I mean, that control panel alone, when I unboxed this control panel, I'm like, I was speechless, like I am now. This control panel is just beautiful. The artwork, they pre-did the artwork. I was so excited about putting this thing together. Just on seeing the control panel alone, I knew this cabinet was going to look amazing. And so I also got the Buy Stuff 19-inch monitor upgrade. It has the light gun sensors built in on all four corners. One thing I might change about this is the marquee. It's kind of washed out. I might get another Space Invaders marquee that will fit a T2 and then pop that in here. But overall, I mean, the cabinet looks great. So I'm happy with it. It's a beautiful cab. I'll never sell that thing. Never. Next to it is my Tron. One of my early purchases, I would say, probably fourth or fifth purchase, is my Tron. And you can see it's got the mods there. It's got the Tulsa Arcades riser front panel LED light there. I've also got a graphic on the kick plate. I basically turn the kick plate around and put this vinyl decal on it. Then up in the top there, I've got the S panel mod for the photo frame that can play videos. So it's playing the MCP, a looped version of the MCP on top there. But yeah, I love the Tron. Haven't had any problems breaking my flight stick. I know there's been issues with that with some folks. Never had an issue. Of course, I suck at Tron anyway, but I have a lot of nostalgia for the game. But yeah, just a beautiful cab. I haven't replaced the marquee yet. That's probably on my list of things to do. So maybe sometime this winter. All right, here we have my Atari Legacy. The house lights are kind of interfering with it. Mods to this cabinet. Well, I was one of the unfortunate souls that blew the encoder board on the control panel. So I had to get Arcade 1-Up. That was back when Arcade 1-Up was being generous with parts. So they sent me a complete new control panel to replace it. There's a story behind why I believe I blew the encoder board in this, and why I turn these things off manually each time. But I'll tell you the story really quickly. But I was testing the circuits. I have 3 separate circuits feeding this arcade, and it's probably overkill because these things draw such little power anyway. But I was testing circuits and I had forgotten to turn off. These are not toggle switches. They're not soft toggle switches. These are hard toggle switches. So I had forgotten to turn this one off. And when I was testing the breaker, I shut the breaker off and then flipped it back on, came around, and I knew I had done something wrong to this Atari Legacy. And as soon as I turned it off, turned it back on, I knew I had lost the encoder board because I couldn't do certain things. None of the buttons worked, and I could move the trackball around and select and move it around to each menu option, but I couldn't select it because the buttons didn't work. So I knew I blew the encoder board doing that circuit test. So once I got it repaired, I vowed never to ever allow power be fed to these Arcade 1-Ups except in the manner intended. So I know some of you out there use your smart switches and turn your power off through a wall switch or whatever. I'm just very wary of doing that because of what I did to this Atari Legacy. Haven't had a problem since. All right, so mods to this cabinet. Other than, well, I haven't done the mods to this cabinet. I've done several. First off, I got this marquee. I believe it was from Joe Zabo. Yeah, it was. So this marquee came from Joe Zabo. I ripped off the old one and put the slip-on cover, and it's like, folks, the mod couldn't be simpler. It's like a 5-minute mod, really, when all is said and done. Might take a little longer to get the old marquee off of the backlight, but it's worth it. Trust me, this artwork is 100 times better than the original Arcade 1-Up artwork. The other mod I did was a GRS light up trackball. Right now I have it set to red. That's a pretty simple mod to do. I don't have the waterfall deck. I would love to get the waterfall deck. So that might be next on my list of mods. I did a coin door mod from Retro 530, lit coin door mod. As you guys know, the Atari Legacy had a printed one, and you can still see some of the print from the old artwork there. But the way I centered this door up, it kind of makes it look a part of the actual coin door. Then I have another lit up riser panel from Tulsa Arcades. I love supporting Tulsa Arcades. Guys, if there's anything that Tulsa Arcades does that you want in your arcade, please support that guy. Help him out. He's had some setbacks this year. He had a fire. He lost his wife. Just a great guy, does great work. And I'm a believer in the products he does. That S panel mod for the Tron that I showed you before, he did that S panel for me as well. I love his work, big supporter of his. So check him out. Check out all the third-party folks that do stuff for us. It's just awesome what they do, and I love how these riser panels turn out. I don't hate risers, and I don't love them either, but for the ones that I have, they're good looking, and I love them in my arcade. So here we have Star Wars Corner. So here we have first the Star Wars pinball. One of my early purchases but it's been through some things. Lost my original Arcade 1-Up monitor. So I wound up going out and doing the 32-inch monitor replacement on it. So it's not an easy mod. It's not a hard mod, but it's a mod that requires patience and getting it right, and patience watching videos and researching and getting the proper things done to get that monitor to fit in and held together. But it's worth it. It really is. I mean, compared to the previous playfield. I mean, the 32-inch is awesome. But I also have my artwork in this corner. It's all Star Wars related. Most of it's come from Hobby Lobby. Yeah, all of it's pretty much come from Hobby Lobby. So I'm a pretty big fan. I don't think I'll ever move the Star Wars corner around. It'll probably stay in this corner. And here I have my Star Wars. Another one of my earlier purchases when I was still up in the bedroom. I don't have a lit riser there. I should probably hit up Tulsa Arcades for that too. I probably will. And so this is the Gen 1 Star Wars cabinet. Or the first, I should really say the first version of the Star Wars cabinet. Haven't replaced the marquee yet either. So two things here I would like to do is the marquee and the lit riser right down there. There's a story behind this purchase. So when I bought this and did not, and this was when Star Wars was sold out officially. So Star Wars was high in demand on Marketplace. Anytime one popped up, it was gone within 2 seconds. You couldn't find it. This is way before when they decided to do a second run of these and with modified artwork. So I bought this from a site called Zebit, Zebit. And if you look at them and if you look at some of their prices, they're way out there. I bought this thing for close to $700. And paid for it, fairly quickly. But I needed to have this Star Wars in my arcade. So that's how it came to here. I'm not going to let this go. I love it. I'm not going to do the buy stuff mod to it because I want to keep the Star Wars original. I'm a big believer in that buy stuff arcades mod, but I'll do it in another cabinet. I had it in the Ridge Racer, but of course I let Ridge Racer go. I've got this neat little trinket on top, the Death Star light. I can change colors on that. I also put these shelves on some of my arcades too, like $10 off of Amazon. So I could put little trinkets like artwork. Like here you see the Star Wars. This also came from Hobby Lobby, but it's sitting on top of that little black piece there. It's adjustable. You can angle it however the back of the arcade is. All right. Now, which brings us to the Legends Ultimate. So here's my Legends Ultimate. Stock Jock will love what I have running on it right now. This is one of my favorite games. I love this game, and so it's frequently on here as the marquee game. Of course, you can go off and play others as you want because it's running coin ops. So I love the Legends Ultimate. I love the flexibility of the Legends Ultimate. This obviously isn't the later generation of it. That was just released to Sam's Club. But of course, you can see the bit LCD in it now that changes as I change games, which is an awesome feature. And let's see. Next is the Golden Tee Deluxe, the most recent addition to Class of '81. I think was my most recent addition. Either one of these two was my most recent addition. I'm pretty sure it was Class of '81 that was the most recent. But here's the Golden Tee Deluxe. Love this game. Like PD7, I probably love the bowling game more. So it's a perfect machine for me. Don't have a lot of nostalgia for it, but I love having a golf game because I love playing golf a little bit and I love playing the bowling game that's on it. So it's a beautiful machine. And I'm glad it's back in my arcade. Over here, we have the Class of '81, most recently added. Love it. Probably will go back and light up the coin doors. Then the Joust. I'm waiting from JC over at Tulsa Arcades to get me another Joust LED front panel there to do that. And I'll probably do the coin doors as well. One mod that I've already done to this is that's the Buy Stuff Arcade's 19-inch monitor replacement for the washed out TN monitor that it had in it. So it's got a correct monitor in it now. That mod was really easy. Went pretty much flawlessly. Great product from Buy Stuff Arcades, that 19-inch monitor. Then we have the Dig Dug. I did a couple of mods to this. I would like to get a riser panel for that LED panel, but he doesn't make those, so I'm going to email him and see if he can do one. But probably light the corridors on that. This has the 19-inch monitor. We talked about that. This is the 19-inch monitor replacement from Buy Stuff Arcades that gave me the most fits. I had to change the screen orientation. Involved a lot of getting rid of a lot of glue and re-gluing, and then the thing wouldn't set right in the arcade one-up cabinet. So I kind of MacGyvered getting it held into place, and it's fine. So it's beautiful after all is said and done. I love the monitor and I love the size of it. It's terrific. The marquee, this I did not get from Joe Zabel. I think I got this from Retro 530. If I'm wrong about that, I apologize. It escapes me right now where I got that marquee. But this is an actual box lit marquee. This is a 3D printed marquee that has the light included and the artwork. So the marquee has been replaced on this Dig Dug, but just not from a Joe Zabel slip-on. Okay, next we have the Pac-Man Deluxe. Got a little Pac-Man light there from Hobby Lobby. But yes, Pac-Man Deluxe. I'm happy to have it back in the arcade. Another coin door mod coming, I think. But these games are all about artwork nostalgia for me. I love seeing the artwork. I love reminiscing about the times I spent in the arcade playing these games. So these are perfect for me. And then it brings me to Galaga Deluxe. I am a Galaga fan through and through. Always will be. These came with the lit coin doors. But I played Galaga probably Galaga is probably one of the games that I played the most in the arcade, and I'm super happy with it. So I'm not getting the scores that I got back in the day, but it's still fun for me, and I absolutely love it. The most recent artwork addition to my arcade is this neon LED sign that my gal got me for Christmas. So I added it above the Galaga, and it's gorgeous. Of course, there's the Pong pub table. I was toying with the idea of putting LED lights underneath, short like 5-6-inch strips on either player side, just to light it up a little bit, put some glow on the carpet below, something like that. But it's fun. I love this table. Let's see, what else could I show you in here? So here's one of my black lights. As I said, I have 4 of these, and they just run via electrical power to whatever power strip you're using. And again, I run 3 circuits into here. So there's the other one on that side, and then I have the 4th one there. I also have this LED sign, which isn't on right now. I probably turned it off for whatever reason, but this is LED backlit here, this sign right here. And my other artwork, Got this game room neon sign. Danny will tell you he knows this one. I thought that was kind of cool, so I got it for my arcade. All of this is pretty much from Hobby Lobby, except for that. This came from Walmart, Hobby Lobby. Then we have the Atari sign over the Tempest, the Atari Legacy. And here's something I really love. I hung this above my Atari Legacy. This is you guys will recognize this actress, Catherine Mary Stewart, from movies like The Last Starfighter. And this photo comes from the movie Night of the Comet. So I don't know if you remember that movie. Look it up, watch it. But in that game, she plays Tempest. And I got her to customize this autograph for me. And it's pretty awesome. I think I paid $25 for this personalized autograph photo. And she's awesome. I mean, she's just awesome to approach. And so she did that for me. And so it now proudly hangs over my Atari Legacy. Of course, I already showed you my Star Wars artwork. I kind of at one time thought I might turn this into a movie wall. I bought this locally at a nostalgia store here in my hometown. I'm a big fan of the Rocky movies. So I bought that. And I've got some artwork, some of which is now covered by Arcade. So I'll probably rearrange this artwork. This all came from Hobby Lobby. I'm thinking I'm going to buy another neon sign and put it on this block, these blocks here. But I love the neon LED sign, so I put those on my Christmas list. And that's where my gal fulfilled one of them by getting me that Galaga ship. So streaming, this is my streaming area. I put a desk in here probably earlier this year. Put a new laptop, put a couple of monitors in, key light, and yeah. So that's where all the magic happens. Power wise, I run 3 16 power strips on either side of either wall. So there's a 16 power strip here, 16 power strip on that wall, and then a 16 power strip on this wall. Each power strip has a USB power strip plugged into it so that I could feed my artwork and my LED lights to probably the easiest one to show you. Well, I could probably show you both of them, but don't mind my wire management. I know I'm a computer guy. I should know better, but you can't really see here, but there's my power strips. Again, I've got my LED lights and they all run to, you can kind of see it in all blue back in the back there. That's my USB power strip, which is plugged into my 16 port power strip. Here's a better look. Again, don't mind the cable mismanagement. I know it's terrible, and one day I'm going to come back through here and clean it all up. But there's my 16 port power strip here. And then there's my USB power strip. I have 2 of them. I actually have 2. I ran out of USB ports, so I bought a second one and plugged it in. So I've got 2 USB powered hubs to handle all my USB artwork and power. So that's that. At one time, I also had a strip going through the middle here when I had a bunch of arcades in the middle, but I removed it because it wasn't needed, and I just power ponged through an extension cord until I grow, you know. Always room for growth. But yeah, that's the tour. The Quarterdeck Arcade. So that's my 2024 year-ending tour of the arcade. It's coming back, you know. It's a lot better than it looked in July, that's for sure, or August. You know, after my last sale, I mean, this room was depressing, but I made a hell of a comeback, I think. Now my goal would be to fill the middle here. So I'm on the hunt, but I'm not not out there spending a lot of money. So I've kind of declared a hiatus for a while. The next thing I want to get is the 4K pinball. And then I'm, if a deal comes along on some of the 4 players, Konami's, I'll probably pick up those and then try to fill out this middle space here, make it a true arcade. So we'll see. All right. So I'm going to switch cameras here. Go back to camera 1 full. All right. Whew. I feel like I've talked for hours. I probably have. All right. Okay. To my desk mic, testing 1, 2, 3. All right. And that's it. That's my history of the Quarterdeck Arcade / tour of the current state of the Quarterdeck Arcade. One thing I didn't show you was my upstairs At Games Mini. You all saw the picture of it. It's still there. Haven't really changed it. Let's see. Stockchuck says, do I see any G.I. Joe risers in my future? Hard to say. Maybe. I like the risers that I have. The only one I might consider doing on it, maybe the Dig Dug. As long as I can get matching artwork to go on the sides. So maybe. The answer to that is maybe. Zero puts out the Dirty Donnie arcade signs on sale. He's got a coupon code right now. I've seen those. I haven't really spent a lot of time going through them, but I would love to get a 1 or 2. Don't know who Catherine Mary Stewart is. Oh my goodness. She's like every schoolboy's crush from the 80s was her. Top shelf. Let me see if I can find it here in a second. Web page. Put my glasses on because I'm old and can't see up close. Oh shit. I went to the wrong website. Let's go to orders, search all orders. Here we go. I have it. I have it. Here, I'll put the link. So there's the shelf link. I just dropped that into chat. Let's see if I can find one other thing I'll put out there. Let's see. Yeah. And here's what I bought for the black lights that I'm using. That's oh, they're on sale right now too. That chaotic BPR gave me. So there's a link for the black lights. Hey, Biggie D, good to see you. Welcome. Let's see, what else can I help you out with here? Let's see. Let's do power strip. I'll show you, or I'll put a link in the chat for the power strips that I've bought. Here we go. These are kind of pricey, but worth it, in my opinion. So power strips, those are the power strips I use. USB. Now, the USB hubs that I was using, they no longer have in stock. I can't buy them again. So here's what I went to after the first one that I use. So here's the USB power hub that I use. Stock Jock, give it up. I'm not selling my Defender Partycade. All right, so I put the link out for the USB power strips. What else? I get a lot of questions about the carpet, so let's see if I can find the carpet. That was also from Amazon. Yeah, there it is. Kapow is the brand. And that was pretty pricey for... So I wouldn't get this same carpet again. I'd probably get one that can be customized. And there's different sizes you can get for the fluorescent carpet. I'm not sure. I think I got the 9x6, but there's different sizes. You can get a bigger one at a 12x6. But again, it's pretty pricey. So I would almost go looking for a fluorescent carpet that is larger than that. I haven't measured in a while. I'm not sure what my measurements are for floor space here, but I'll probably find another source. Here's the Pac-Man carpet, the smaller Pac-Man carpet. Oh, it's unavailable right now. So it's really... So I don't even know if they make it anymore. Well, I'll throw the link out there anyway. You guys can look at it. Pac-Man carpet. What else? Yeah, if there's anything else you would like to link for, let me know in the chat. I would still totally buy a Tron arcade 1-up. Maybe that was non-functioning, and reskin it as a Gorf and then turn it into a Gorf cabinet. I would totally do that. but I haven't been able to find another Tron. So, or at least a Tron that I'm willing to pay that much for. So. All right, folks, we're creeping up on 2 hours here. I think that's long enough for a year-end State of the Arcade stream. That'll be mine. As you know, other content creators are putting theirs out. Check them out. I think I saw one from Bad Guy Mike Worley the other day. PD7 did one. But it's kind of a fun thing to do just because your arcade changes from year to year. And like I said, I was going through memory lane when I went through my photos this morning. So our arcades are always changing. We're always doing something, tweaking something, making it better, making it look even better than it already is. So we all have our own tastes and our own bits of nostalgia that we crave, and so each arcade is going to look different. But it's always great to look at what somebody's done, and if you see something that looks neat and you want to do in your own arcade, then it's always neat to see somebody else's arcade. I get questions often about certain things. Where'd you get that? So I know I'm not the best at putting links in the description for stuff. I sometimes promise to do that, and I sometimes forget. But I have CRS. Some of you folks might know what CRS is. It's a horrible disease. Looking through the chat. All right, folks. I think it's time for me to bid farewell for today's show. I'll be back next week. I have plans to be back next week. I don't know what I'm doing. I have some purchases I want to make. These are basically just material supply purchases that I need to have stuff on hand. I like to keep a stocked arcade parts-wise. So I'll probably be making a list and doing some individual shopping. If you ask me, Zero, to answer your question, I would say GRS with his FU edition Build-A-Cade. So that's my opinion, but we'll see what happens, Yep, Hockeytown has it. Folks, I really appreciate you guys joining me for today's stream. This was a fun one for me to do. I've been kind of down lately. Personal note, I've been undergoing a bit of an injury that's been annoying, and it's really been causing me to be annoyed because I'm not able to work out at the level I'm used to working out. So I'm kind of forcing myself to take a break. And I did so today. I started today. Tomorrow might be a full rest day for me. But I'm injured right now, and I need to get through the injury to get back to crushing it on my workouts. But it's a process. And those of you that work out and those of you that are probably as crazy as me and do the same amount of running I do, know it can be hard when you're sidelined. And so I'm working my way through it. I'm trying to hold off on snacking to try and keep my weight down, and it's hard during the holiday season, I know, but yeah, it's a battle. And so where I'm headed now after this stream is I'm going upstairs and I'm putting an ice pack on my hip. So, and I'm going to be watching a movie. I don't know what movie yet, but yeah, it is what it is. But you got to do what you got to do to take care of yourself, right? So, guys, thank you so much. I always appreciate everybody's support, whether it be a like or a subscribe. I love getting those little notifications from YouTube. Lets me know that I'm doing something good, at least something fun. As I said, today's stream was fun for me. So, if I'll stay in communication throughout the week. If I've got something to say, I'll look for it on my community posts. But other than that, guys, have a great week. Have a safe week. Hug your loved ones. Always tell them you love them, because you never know. Tomorrow's not promised, as I recently found out. So just always remember the loved ones in your life, and let them know how you're feeling about them. And it's a great cause for reflection for me the last month. So have a great week, safe week. And remember, until next time, I got next.